Welcome to ClosingSpeaker.com. I'm Chip Eichelberger. Why is it so hard to be the closing speaker? Why is it critical to choose the right one? Was the closing session at your last event memorable? Will the audience remember it even a week after? Often the participants have flown in from around the country, sometimes even around the world. They've been there for 2, 3, 4 days, experienced late nights, early mornings, been subjected to many presentations. They maybe have been killed by hundreds, if not thousands, of PowerPoint slides. They compare the closing speaker to everything that's come before. I've been speaking professionally now since 1993. I've spoken almost 1,000 conventions. The reason I've lasted and the reason I've been successful, people love what I do and they tell others. The next fill in the blank there says the Stockdale Paradox, if you'd write that in. Do we have any Vietnam veterans in the room? Okay, salute you. You probably obviously know Admiral James Stockdale. During the Vietnam conflict, he was the highest ranking prisoner of war. But one of my reasons for telling this story is there's people sitting right next to you right now, going through stuff with their family, going through stuff with their kids or their finances or with burnout. You have no clue, is that true? And if you're not going through anything right now, guess what? It's coming! Is that right? And the Stockdale Paradox was fascinating because he was asked, Admiral, what kind of person didn't survive that prisoner of war camp experience, right? And Stockdale said, oh, that's easy, the optimists. That doesn't follow. We've all been taught in a tough situation, you got to maintain a positive what? Attitude. He goes, what would happen is they'd be so optimistic, they'd get captured in the middle of the year and they'd say, hey, you watch this, I'll be out of here by when? Christmas, let's say. Christmas would come and go and they're still there. What would happen? Oh, man. But they're optimistic. You watch. Anniversary of my capture. I'll be out of here. Still there. He said they'd die of a broken heart. The Stockdale Paradox is this. They'd get to him, and this is basically what they'd have to do, Dave. They'd have to get you day one in the camp and say, you know what, Dave? You ain't getting out of here by Christmas. It's not going to happen. You better deal with that when. Right now. Here's the Stockdale Paradox. Here's the key. Everybody's in different stages of their life right now. The Stockdale Paradox says this. If you're in a situation where you're not sure whether you can turn it around, here's step number one. It says this. I retain absolute what? You got to retain absolute faith. No matter what coming at you, Bill, you can handle it. Is that true? Retain absolute faith. You can and will prevail regardless of the difficulties. To take it from good to great, the number one step is this. I must confront the brutal facts of the current situation, and then you better be willing to what, everybody? Act on the implications. Here's a few examples of what decision makers just like you had to say.
I've had the privilege of knowing Chip now for about 8 years. We've done dozens of events together. One of the things and one of the reasons I highly recommend Chip is he comes in early, makes sure he understands the audience, the strategy, the campaigns you might be embarking upon, and then brings it the next day in the presentation.
At the end of the day, Chip just took it. He took the energy. He made everybody remind themselves why they're in the business, what makes it so important. And he actually had them break through any kind of mental barriers that they had for themselves and how they could make the best for themselves, their families, and their workplace and get to the finish line.
I encourage you to choose someone with a proven track record, someone you know will do their homework and not deliver a canned, memorized presentation. Select someone who will talk to your key leaders in advance, tie into your theme, and make you look like a hero for bringing them in.
He made sure he knew the audience, he did his homework, he came prepared, and he made it happen. And everybody in that room was shining after they broke that board. Before they broke that board, they were looking at it with some skepticism and fear. So we're going to have a great night thanks to Chip. We had a great day, and I'd recommend him.
We've just concluded our 26th annual general manager meeting in Orlando, Florida, and we had Chip Eichelberger as our keynote speaker come in. Chip did an amazing job. He took the time to do the research, learn our company culture and what makes our industry different from other interstate retailers. Chip delivered a very engaging keynote speech that really helped our folks get switched on.
The challenge with many conventions is people attend and do not do anything. They have good intentions, but take no actions. It takes a special skill to connect, entertain, and lead them to a clear call to action. What will they do? If the closing is an amazing experience, they'll view the entire convention as amazing. Click on Book Chip to contact me and find out how I can close your next event and make it amazing.